you're looking at from sports betting. You certainly do in this next fight, and maybe the lone coin flip as it stands right now with Brundage and Marquez. You're backing Cody as the underdog. That number has come down a bit, but also method of victory, something you want to look at as well.
Well, this is a fight that I'm really intrigued by. These guys know each other. They're friendly with each other, have trained together, different styles. Marquez, the longer, taller, bigger knockout artist that has been finished in his last 3 fights going into this. He's fighting for his job. And meanwhile, Brundage has taken 10, 11 months off to kind of recalibrate himself after losses himself. However, in his most devastating loss against Bo Nickel, he probably fought his best fight and showed me a lot more than what I thought was there. I like that. I like the time off, and I like the fact that he's a wrestler. Now, the 1.5 indicates Marquez is going to catch him early. I don't see that. I think Brundage knows this is a wrestling fight for him. He goes and smothers Marquez and tries to take him in deep waters. And for that reason, I lean to Brundage here as an underdog. I like the fight to start round 2 is a -140. That's a great number. The fight to go to decision plus 300. I like that as well. I see a decision fight here, not a quick knockout.
Hey, you see that over-under set at just 7.5 minutes here, plus $1.24 if you like that over like Lou does. I'll be with you on that, and I love the Brundage side here, and I love, again, that you got the better of the number, plus $1.40. I've been looking this Hyder Emil fight against William Gomi, and it's so intriguing on many different levels. One, Amir is just this, he is a fire plug. He's coming out there, plus $1.64 for the undefeated featherweight. But you know how tough William Gomi is as well. So he is now almost a $2 betting favorite for your blood. And sometimes Emil, you look for the competition. And now this is a big step up in competition for Hyder. Is that jump too much for him? And that's why he's the plus $1.64 betting underdog.
This fight fascinates me because, again, yes.
Very few public appearances since then. Authorities in Santa Fe say there are no suggestions of any.
Gomi, the Frenchman, has impressed me. And when he can show power, but really he's an accumulation guy. Long, tall, a daddy long legs, going to tap you from the outside, create angles. And this is going to be a bullfight with a bull and a matador in the cage. And so when you look to the total here, 2.5 shaded over, heavy to the over. I agree with that, but I don't see it as one-sided to the Gomi side. Emil is a tough, motivated fighter. I don't see the step up being an issue. I see the smaller cage being a huge advantage for the smaller man here. And when I look at the points handicap, you can see he's a plus 160, 170 underdog. And yet you look at the points, and if you take the 3.5, all of a sudden you have to give a minus 165. Oh. I think there's a wrinkle there, Dave. That should be -5. This is going to a decision, and Emil's going to be the guy that's charging going forward the whole time. And for that reason, I've attacked that aspect of this gamble, and you can get that at DraftKings, available everywhere except for where you are in Las Vegas, unfortunately.
Lou, I would say that it's usually clockwork in which Saturday afternoon comes around or early Saturday evening Eastern time, and a text will go from me to Super Dave Ross on, hey, I want to get creative here with a 2-leg parlay, maybe a 3-leg parlay with a boost. DraftKings, I know, will entice me to try and do that each Saturday. Workshop with me here on this main card. Is there a parlay scenario that you look at, whether it be just the money lines, the round totals, anything that really sticks out to you that I could put 2 and 2 together?
To be honest with you, I've used the Hyder Emil minus 165 in numerous parlays. However, I've used them in future cards. I'm very aggressive about trying to take an advantage here and move it forward. And you got a guy named Ruffy's fighting Bobby King Green in a few weeks, and he's prohibitive. He's -5. But when you team him together, -5 with a minus 175. All of a sudden, you have something you can sink your teeth into. And when the earlier part of the parlay is the more difficult leg to get in, and you save yourself the big chalk for the second side, you're just seeding future profits for yourself. And that's the kind of game we play at Gamblu.com.
Chepe Mariscal against Ricardo Ramos. You might be attacking a total in this one in the prelim card here. We know how tough Chepe can be as well, but you think maybe this is a fight? Can we look to get a finish here?
Yeah, I want to circle this one right into Jensen's question as well, because Ramos is he's way too big of an underdog that he should be. His problem is he doesn't like to get bullied or pushed back. And he has the guy whose face is bullied, push your opponent back in the dictionary is Chepe Mariscal. But Chepe's coming right at him, and Ramos has submissions, and that's what he does. So if Chepe isn't wise and he's a little rambunctious, or if Ramos can take this to the second round and make Chepe somewhat predictable in his advances, this fight could turn. Ramos is not the bum they're making him out to be by price. And so Ramos inside the distance, Ramos straights plus 350 or so. That's not bad. Ramos inside the distance plus 700. Ooh. That's a consideration. If you're looking to throw the long ball or get a real long parlay leg in early and tie it to a favorite later so you can cash a ticket.
And Jensen, one other thing in that main event too, and I want to get Lou's thoughts here. You do like the over at 4.5 rounds here. Is that the belief that Almabayev, if he can get the wrestling, but he can't finish Manel Kape, right? That it's a position grappling, that's how he survives? Because we saw Kape against Bruno Silva kind of walk him down, eventually finish him. But your point about the showboating, he takes the foot off the gas. Is that why you look to the over there at 4.5 rounds?
Yeah, on Monday, this was 3.5. And on the sneak teep, I said, if you take this over now, because then you can come back with fight goes the distance. If Kape comes out focused and really motivated on his best day, he'll finish this young man. This is a big step up for Almabayev.
I know you've already got plays out there. Everybody check out the Bout Business podcast. Pereira against Ankalaev next week. How excited are you for that main event?
I'm fascinated by it. Ankalaev opened minus 180, minus 200. Now it's a pick'em. A lot of public, a lot of money on Pereira. Should be a fascinating stylistic matchup and a lot for us to talk about.
And that's why you have to check out the Bout Business podcast. Lou's already looking ahead to next week. Everybody is in the UFC world for UFC 313. Lou, you're the best. We appreciate it. We'll catch up again soon.
Good luck, everyone. Thanks for having me, guys.
There he is, everybody. Give him a follow on X at Gamblu. I can't wait for that Pereira Ankalaev fight next Saturday night. When we come back, we'll get to our best bets. That's next year. VSiN by the books.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit GetEthos.com. That's GetEthos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Prop Points with Nick Whalen and Jeff Erickson.
It is over for the Philadelphia 76ers. Sixers are now 7-1 to make the postseason. They're minus 1,400 to miss the playoffs. I mean, it just could not be more over. There was a report that, Joel Embiid continues to...
Another warm day, but we have more wind to contend with that will increase the fire danger throughout the day around Nebraska. Hey everybody, Tim Jones. High of 66 today on Friday. Plenty of sunshine, but 40-mile-per-hour gusts. We're going to cause breezy conditions, obviously. Overnight tonight, clear skies, a low of 27. Through the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we're in the upper 40s and upper 50s each day, respectively. Still plenty of sunshine and some wind. In the next week, chances for rain and snow early in the week.
Stellig Law Firm of Grand Island is committed to assisting clients throughout Nebraska. Stellig Law Firm is a full-service law firm and specializes in estate planning, probate, and personal injury. Stellig Law Firm takes the time to listen and understand each client's personal needs. To schedule your individual appointment, call 308-675-4035. Stellig Law Firm is located at 724 West Koenig Street in Grand Island. A call today will secure your tomorrow. Since 1946, Cully Pipe and Steel continues to meet the pipe and steel needs of greater Nebraska and Kansas. Cully Pipe and Steel is a one-stop shop for all of your pipe and steel needs. Cully Pipe and Steel stocks a wide variety of steel and plumbing products, from custom steel products to structural steel, rebar fabrication, steel fabrications, and retail and wholesale plumbing parts and fixtures. Remember, Cully Pipe and Steel of Hastings. They're located at 405 West South Street and the plumbing showroom at 300 South Colorado in Hastings.
Physical Therapy and Sports Rehab of Hastings is the trusted name in sports injury management. The staff of PTSR provides up-to-date and efficient care of sports-related injuries, returning athletes quickly and safely back to the playing field. PTSR offers free evaluation of all sports-related injuries to all area athletes during convenient 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. hours Monday through Friday. Call 402-462-8824 for more information. Remember, Physical Therapy and Sports Rehab of Hastings for all your physical and occupational therapy needs.
When it comes to helping you protect what's important to you, you can trust the licensed independent insurance agents at Klein Insurance of Hastings. No matter what type of insurance you need, from auto to home to farm and crop, Klein Insurance will get it covered. They'll help you find the right policy for your specific situation. Klein Insurance has been in business since 1959 and is locally owned. Same-day quotes are available. At Klein Insurance, you'll get years of expertise, attention to detail, and exceptional customer service. Klein Insurance, 710 South Burlington in Hastings. Call 402-463-1256.
This is Brad Musburger from VSiN. You're listening to Extreme Sports.
And Lewis, we're going to get to our best bets here in 1 second. Just want to point out, by the way, I love the conversations that we've had this hour with Zach and with Lou and Tim Murray. Going on right now, the Cognizant Classic. This is the second round, the old Honda Classic, okay? For old people like me, that's what we remember it being called. We mentioned that Jake Knapp, obviously, with that 59 yesterday, part of PGA Tour history, with that sub-60 round. He's still obviously the betting favorite now. You're seeing about plus 330 here in the marketplace on Jake. The other two guys that had really good days yesterday, and one of those guys are of interest to you, Daniel Berger and Russell Henley. Those guys both shot 8 under par. Now, they haven't teed off. All these guys will be in the afternoon wave. They were plus 750 to win this tournament at DraftKings. That's already been shorted by a full $1 down to 650. And you go, whoa, why would that move? And these guys haven't even teed off. I think, Jensen, what it shows is we're not seeing anybody from that afternoon, now morning wave today in day 2, making a big rush up this leaderboard. So it feels like those numbers, dramatically a full $1 here without teeing off for Berger and Henley, shows you the respect those guys have in the marketplace, and maybe that Jake Knapp's not going to be able to do this for 4 days. Look, he does it for 4 days, Jensen. Tip your cap. Great run. Start off with a 59. You wouldn't mind seeing him go pillar to post and win this thing. But if you're in the Berger and the Henley tickets, those have already been shorted, and that's the reason why. Nobody else has jumped up from back of the pack, at least so far today.
Yeah, I got to feel really good about it. And also, low round of the day right now is Will Gordon, 5 under through 11. So, you're looking at Alex Smalley and Minwoo Lee. They're at 4 under, but that is already with Alex Smalley. They're already on the back 9, and so anxious to see kind of where those guys finish. Even if they finish at like a 7, maybe even an 8, you still have where it is right now with those top guys that you referred to. And I would even go even further right where we are. And I know he's even par through the day, but Christian Bezuidenhout, who actually was on Wes Reynolds' car, if you're looking at someone from a consistency standpoint, maybe outside the top 10 at the moment, who could, maybe be a player over the weekend. The short game has been very solid for him. So anxious to kind of see when we get to that noon Eastern hour, what those initial 4 to 5 holes look like for the guys atop the leaderboard.
Fascinating. And again, Ricky Fowler will not be in my card. I know he's 18-1. Everybody wants to root for Ricky. And Jordan, I'd like to see Jordan Spieth back up there again.
Sure.
Spieth right there, 22-1. And again, he was a late add to this tournament this week, but it's good to see Jordan Spieth playing well as well. Let's get to our best bets. They are brought to us by GBank, the official bank of VSiN. Great conversations, obviously, throughout the last hour here, getting some picks on the board here. And I know even in the first hour, we talked to Thomas Gable. He loves my alma mater, VCU. And maybe not even just laying the 15.5 against Davidson tonight, but bigger picture, that my Rams, your Rams, everybody, at VCU might be able to make some damage in the NCAA tournament. If you want to back Purdue, and I thought Tim Murray hopped on this and said he's going to play first half and full game, that you have to, losing 4 in a row, get a better opening to their game tonight against UCLA. Do you like that handicap?
I do, because of the sense of urgency and knowing you're at home and we're starting to get to that point of, all right, you better put up or shut up. And even though Purdue is in the projections where they are as far as the big dance, I think even approved to themselves, right? And you look at this stretch, and we've seen this in team sports too, where you're like, okay, like people say we're good, but are we?
Yeah.
And I think that to me is what I would love to see out of Purdue tonight on their home floor. Okay, fellas, let's go ahead and put our stamp on it. We are who we think we are, and that would go a long way in helping not only them into the Big Ten tournament, but also into the big dance as well.
45-1 to cut down the net. So it just seems like it feels preposterous right now with the week that they're 2 weeks that they've had at 4-1 against second page. If you're looking now on that, how the mighty have fallen here for a former top 10 team not that long ago. In the NBA, it is a clash of titans right now in the Eastern Conference. Your Cavaliers against the Celtics tonight, and Zach Cohen's in pocket with the Cavaliers on the road. You can get him at plus $1.20 on that money line. Who does this game mean more to tonight?
I guess the bias part of me says it's the Cavaliers going into the Lions' den. And if you are going to be the 1 seed, you're going to have to win your home games. But you would love nothing more than to steal a game on the road and give yourself a couple of extra outs if indeed it ends up being the Eastern Conference final matchup that I think many people would love to see. Zach's in pocket on the Cavs. Love to see that. I'm on the under 232.5. Looks like it's already down a half point. 44% of the bets, 90% of the money at DraftKings. So love the split right there. And I am also anxious to see the trade for DeAndre Hunter was specifically for this team and this matchup. You got to be able to guard the wing defenders, have some length. And also, I'll circle Darius Garland, my Vandy boy. I think he could be a force tonight. If he gets out quickly, might be a guy that helps paces the Cavalier offense.
We get it. We understand why the Celtics are still the betting favorite to win the East, obviously, right? Because they're the reigning defendings. Even if they're the 2 seed and Cleveland's the 1 seed, I think they still feel like we can still get this done in 6. If you're Cleveland tonight and you do go in there to TD Garden and get that win, and not to say to solidify the 1 seed, but do you think that does play if they end up playing down the road in the Eastern Conference Finals? What happens tonight? Does this have any bearing on what might happen down the road?
Oh, I have nothing else. A 2-game swing, right? In the standings, you end up being 7.5 clear of the Celtics, and really, force them to consider what kind of resources do you want to expend to even try and get to that top spot. But I think more importantly, it's the psyche factor here, where the Celtics will, even if the Celtics lose, they know they're banged up a little bit. They're trying to get right. They're trying to get everyone in a spot health-wise where they can make their run. Cavaliers have been, as I told you, the best team statistically from an offensive and defensive standpoint since the acquisition of DeAndre Hunter. What does this do psyche-wise if they're going this well and they lose?
Oh.
And it's not, and it would be the way that they would lose. Like, what does that do for prevailing sentiment? I think, again, yes, the short-term result may be what it'll be, but it's how that result is arrived at that means more probably to the Cavaliers than it does the Celtics.
And the C's are coming off getting their tails kicked in Detroit, right? It did not look good in that second half. Now Detroit is going to host Denver tonight, and we saw what just happened to Denver in the back-to-back last night against Milwaukee. They come up short. We talked about MVP with Zach Cohen. You know, every night that the Joker goes out there, I guess it's another case to be made at plus 350. Not to say you lose 2 in a row. If they lost tonight, they're 2-point underdogs in Detroit. But that is interesting that's kind of in the back of the mind that every night Joker goes out there, it feels like he's dragging 4 of the guys up and down the court here, having his best statistical year. What about tonight's game? Do you think on the back-to-back for Denver and Detroit coming off that nice win against Boston, any letdown for Detroit, or are you okay with laying the 2?
I'm probably going to stay away from the side. I'm more interested in the total. I mean, is this run and gun? Is this Detroit offense going to continue to pace? And then, as we'd said earlier, Nikola Jokic, you might as well just roll over your winnings from the triple-double last night. He may be right back at it again tonight. I just think the path of resistance here that Detroit has put up has been pretty formidable. But again, we've said this the entire week, whether it be college basketball or the NBA. If you're a true contender, these are the matchups you circle. And I understand it's a back-to-back for Denver, but they're going to have aspirations to go deep in the Western Conference playoffs. And I think Detroit can solidify their contender narrative if they find a way to win this one tonight.
Again, with Zach Cohen, he's on Brooklyn tonight. You can get them plus money at home, plus $1.05 on the money line here. They're getting a 1.5 against Portland. Good money, bad teams. But Brooklyn's been playing some better basketball here as of late.
Yeah, this is remember when I told you no one's going to be watching the Portland Washington game, and that flew over?
Yep.
This one feels like I won't do it, but I'd be intrigued to see what the under 200 total points looks like tonight. I think this could be a rock fight.
Really? 220 is the total right now, so maybe a completely different game from what we saw the other night in D.C. Of course, GBank is upping the ante with up to a $750 bonus for new GBank Visa Signature Card customers. For new customers who spend $1,000 on eligible purchases within 90 days from opening up an account, they're going to get $250 right off the bat. Then, if you spend more than $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads within the 30 days of opening that account, you're going to get another $500 bonus. That's potentially $750 bonus. Apply now, VSiN.com/GBank. That's VSIN.com/GBank. Subject to credit approval, terms and conditions do apply. As my voice, Jensen, is about to give out for the end of the week, but we made it to a Friday. What are you looking for most in college basketball tomorrow? Is it the SEC action we have coming up?
Yeah. I think that and Iowa State. If we think Iowa State is truly going to be a team, whether it be on the 3-seed or 2-seed line, wherever they end up, that's a team that I need to see trend in the right direction, and also in the Big 12 tournament. And yeah, the SEC, Kentucky will circle that can, and Tennessee matchup. We learn a lot here, I think, in the final couple of days of conference play.
Hot tea and honey is coming for me, Jensen. I cannot wait for the weekend. Rest them up. We'll see you on Monday, but don't go anywhere. A numbers game, Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidwin next year on VSiN.
Hey, it's Bill from VSiN. You may know me as the guy who writes the VSiN Daily Newsletter, but I'm also one of VSiN's owners. If you're a business owner like I am, you need to reach customers ready to spend, right? VSiN talks to millions of engaged sports fans every month, folks with money in their pockets, ready to bet on the next big game. If you want to connect with this audience, email me at bill@vsin.com. Let's talk about how VSiN can help your business, no matter what its size, win big.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Prop Points with
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is expected to sign a minerals deal in Washington, D.C. later. US President Donald Trump says he expects a very good meeting. President Zelensky is expected to push for security guarantees from Washington in the event of a peace deal with Russia. Chief editor at the Lviv Times, Lee Rini, says the US hopes to bring about a ceasefire in the conflict and elections in Ukraine within months.
The first is a ceasefire. The second part of this peace plan is actually post-war elections, or elections which will happen likely, the date that I've heard is in late October this year. And so for that to happen, there needs to be a minimum, at least 6 months of no bombing, of a ceasefire, of some safety in the country. I think 6 months is personally, I think it's not even enough time, but it does sound like the elections will go forward this year.
Beijing has threatened to hit back at President Donald Trump's threat to slap an extra 10% duty on Chinese imports on top of 10% tariffs that he imposed this month. China has accused the White House of shifting the blame and taking steps to destabilise global supply chains. Laura Westbrook has more from Hong Kong.
The fresh tariffs are in retaliation for China's alleged role in the flow of the drug fentanyl into America and would coincide with the start of China's annual parliamentary meetings on March 4th. This is when Beijing will unveil its economic priorities for the year. China has defended its record on fighting drug trafficking, with a Commerce Ministry spokesman saying China's anti-drug policy is among the strictest in the world. A spokesman said China wanted to return to negotiations with the US as soon as possible, but if the US insists on having its own way, China will counter with all necessary measures to defend its legitimate rights and interests. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
There's growing concern about peace and security in West Africa. Defence authorities in Nigeria say the withdrawal of some countries from the Economic Community of West African States, known as ECOWAS, has disrupted security operations in the region. Tessa Makende reports from Jos.
Chief of Nigeria's Air Staff Hassan Abubakar says terrorists operating in the region, apart from civilians, have also been attacking military personnel. Last month, ECOWAS recognized the exit of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger Republic from the bloc after a one-year notice. Nigerian senior military officials say there are plans by Chad to also pull out of the region's multinational joint task force. But ECOWAS says it will continue to make efforts on having the countries back on the bloc. It says only a collective approach against security threats will guarantee success.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Friday morning to you. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network. VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course, Sirius XM Channel 158. My name is Gil Alexander. This is radio's Kelly Bidlin, everybody. Loser of 68 American pounds.
As opposed to...
Very quickly is what I mean. How you doing, man? You good?
I'm great. I've probably lost 68 English pounds, too. But trying to help you out. I'm doing great, man. It's Friday. Crew's doing great.
Friday. Crew's doing great. We're always doing great on Friday because it's not a football Friday, but it's Friday nonetheless. And Steve Fezzik and Chris Felica will be joining us hour number 2. Fezzik, the only back-to-back winner of the Hilton Super Contest back in the day. Felica for Fox Sports. Fezzik's got all kinds of topics he wants to talk about. A lot of stuff reviewing what we've done on the show here in the last couple days also. So he wants to follow up on a whole bunch of stuff. The guy who forfeited his slot jackpot, parlays. What else is there? Oh, there's a bunch of stuff. We'll get to
a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that the Crack Thursdays and Fezzik Fridays have become a little bit of like the political back and forth. Like I make a statement and then I need to follow up on that statement on Friday. The Fezzik follow.
Oh, a point counterpoint.
Yeah,
kind
point
of thing.
counterpoint sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You said I, so I was like, I don't know. You said something specifically that he wants to.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
I was just wondering. Jason Weingart will be here as well. Jason's got a couple things that are. Jason's a funny guy because when he texts me, I can always learn what's sort of annoying him. That's annoying at him, and it's always something random. One, he thinks the Rams are acting like a B when it comes to Matthew Stafford, and he's just ranting about that all day long. Weird. And he doesn't feel like Travis Hunter has any idea about playing two sides of the ball. Like, there's really strange things that Jason is really Just randomly. It's not strange, but randomly upsetting to him at this point.
You know what? Both of those football situations are upsetting me too, because we do have reports this morning. Rams set to meet with Matthew Stafford in person today to discuss future. Raiders and Giants have discussed 2-year contracts already for Stafford that include $90 to $100 million guaranteed. That is from Diane Rossini. There's that. The Travis Hunter thing I texted you about. Every report I'm seeing out of the combine keeps changing the number of teams that are looking at him at wide receiver or cornerback.
He's not playing both ways. He wants to play every snap. He's not playing both ways every down.
And then, like, one of the interviews I saw with him yesterday, he seemed very dejected or upset about, like, even the idea of him not playing both sides.
Bro, you're trying to kill yourself?
I know.
Anyway, that's the Jason segment. We almost had it ourselves just there. Are we sure coming up? A whole bunch of good stuff on the show today. But I want to start with tennis plays because we were waiting till the end with the G-Bank Best Bets at the end of the show here, throughout the week. We're on a heater. This is our kind of time of year when this happens. This hard court season, we have hards with a little clay sprinkled in. I made a play that's too far gone now, which was before the semifinals of Dubai. I made a play on Felix Auger-Aliassime at +110. I hope subscribers got that. He's up a break in the third set against Quintina Lis. But that's, by the way, why it pays to be a subscriber. Also because you get the best of the lines typically. Also at VSiN.com/picks. Every host, every guest, every sport, all their plays. They're at VSiN.com/picks for subscribers. But when the tours are on the North American side, I can give them to you on the show as well. After our hit on Korea again yesterday, Maya Joint is the play today versus Elena Avanesian. Maya Joint, the 18-year-old Australian. This was a lot of line movement yesterday. This was I had isolated Joint, but the line was -139 when I first saw it. I was like, it's a little too high. Next time I looked, it was -145, and the next time I looked, it was -170 something. I'm like, I can't play this. This is ridiculously out of whack. Then the next time I looked curiously, it was -150 something, and then I waited an hour and a half. This was like later. I was prepared to not have a play today. And then I see her at -119 against Avanesian, who's a very scrappy player, who is willing to play points for as long as it takes, by the way. She's very annoying that way.
Really?
But Maya Joint is the play at -119. Her numbers on the hard courts of Merida.
Cowboys primetime, you get another chance to fire up another joint bet.
The Laszlo Djere pick is like the Auger-Aliassime, is a futures play, or as the Westgate calls it, something else. But in Djere's case here, he's a Serbian player. He's got outstanding clay numbers, and they're playing in Santiago, Chile. He plays his quarterfinal match. So while the Auger-Aliassime one was before the semis, this one's before the quarters, +330. His clay numbers are, this is sort of where the data comes to the fore, because a lot of the other names that are still alive in Santiago, Sebastian Baez, Francisco Cerundolo, those are more known clay court specialists, but Djere's numbers trump there, so +330 to win in Santiago. Last night in the National Basketball Association, did you see the Steph show?
Oh, boy, did I.
56 for Steph against the Orlando Magic as the Warriors cover in the end. Just barely, but they do so with a 6-point win on the road at Orlando. Steph loves historically playing at Orlando, and he loves playing on February 27th, we all learned last night as well. But the Warriors win at 121-115, which brings their record since the Jimmy Butler trade. Not that he had a good offensive night last night, because he didn't. But since the Butler trade, the Warriors go to 7-1 now. And Steph, just to sort of give you the historicals on Steph last night, just to be thorough, because I'm, if nothing else, a Warriors nerd. 7-1 ATS, by the way, and that 7-1 run as well. And look at those numbers on the left side of the screen. Third in net rating. You see the ratings on offense and defense, the efficiency numbers. Also, the Lakers there, which we'll get to since acquiring Luka Doncic, their numbers, they had a win last night as well. But on the Warriors side, again, back to Steph, 56 last night, 12 3-pointers, including one at the end of the first half from a step or two above in front of the arc on the other side of the court. So beyond half court by a bit. But 12 3-pointers. Curry had 22 points in the third quarter. He outscored Orlando 22-21 in that frame alone, which turned a 14-point Warriors deficit into a 5-point lead. And then with Curry on the bench to begin the fourth quarter, the Warriors held the Magic scoreless for the first 3:08. Stretching a 5-point lead to 12. Banchero, by the way, scored 41 for the Magic, and nobody noticed.
Nobody brings it up. Yeah.
But for Steph, most 50-point games after the age of 30, 9. Most 50-point games after the age of 35, 3. He ties Rick Barry with his 14th 50-point game, second all-time on the Warriors, 7th most in NBA history. By the way, Wilt has like 118 of them. It should be pointed out, something like that.
That's every NBA record, right?
Yeah, but that one in particular, 118 he has with those. And then the most games, he had 12 threes. He now has, Steph does, the most games with 11-plus threes in NBA history, 14 of them, and the most games with 10-plus threes in NBA history, 26 of them. That's the most all-time. And let me just say this. Klay has the most in a game. He has 14 made threes in a game. That's the record. So he has one game of 14, 2 of 12, and 2 of 11. Steph has 1 of 13, now 2 of 12, and 11 of 11.
That's wild.
Just insane.
That's a great stat. That's a great stat. You know what's also kind of funny is I'm sure that 14 is under Steph's skin a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm sure he thinks about that every once in a while.
Sure he does.
I'd love to match Klay, right? Or get beyond it.
While this was happening, now from a betting standpoint, as we throw up the Warriors and the Lakers since their big trades, the Warriors was a five-teamer, to be technical. Yep. The Lakers was a 3-teamer with Utah. I don't know, man. The Warriors have a lot to be excited about. They are in the midst of a 14-game stretch where 12 of them are on the road, Kelly. And they've gotten through the heart of that now with this big record. And the last 4 games on the road, 3 of them are against, let's see if I have this right. 3 of them are against Philly, Charlotte, and Brooklyn. So they're going to get through this thing, one would imagine, pretty solidly. And if you look at the remaining strength of schedule in the National Basketball Association, the Warriors have the 3rd easiest remaining schedule of Western Conference teams. Only Minnesota and Dallas have easier schedules than the Warriors do in the Western Conference. Meanwhile, the Lakers have the 4th hardest schedule left in the NBA. And really, there's 5 Western Conference teams that have the hardest in terms of the aggregate opponent win percentage. Phoenix, Sacramento, Denver, Lakers, Clippers have the 5 hardest remaining schedules in the NBA. So a lot in the Warriors' favor. And, of course, they're getting back Jonathan Kuminga at some point. So I say to you, sir, a bet? Because I'm really thinking about it on the Warriors to win the West. I'm not going to say to win it all because I don't want to get that far and not cash. So to win the West, they're about 9-1, 10-1, somewhere in that pocket.
Yeah, I can't blame anybody wanting to make a Warriors or Lakers bet right now. I get it. I get it. I think the difference, you pointed out the strength of schedule remaining for Lakers and Warriors. I think that's a big difference. It would definitely be a lean. We would have had this discussion 3 days ago, Gil. I would have said Warriors, Lakers, both of them. I'm not sure about, right? We've gotten to the point now where I think they're still the 2 biggest wild cards in the Western Conference playoffs. I think they are. But I think the Warriors have started to separate themselves even a little bit from where the Lakers are at. The Lakers are... I do. Some of it's a little smoke and mirrors to me. I think you've heard a lot of this. J.J. Redick, a lot of credit to him for what the defense has done and what they've been able to do with the lack of size that they have on the team on this current version of the roster. 3rd best defensive rating since they acquired Luka Doncic is very impressive. Luka has not shot well since he's gotten there, so you would expect that to get better. But they can't keep up this level of defense, in my opinion, with how this roster is built out. Like you said with the Warriors, you're getting Kuminga back. You're going to see what this team looks like at full strength finally for the first time this season with Jimmy Butler on the roster. Between Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green, these guys can cause absolute havoc for some teams on the defensive side of the ball in the playoffs. They're a major wild card. I still like the Thunder to win the West, but after them, Gil, there's no reason that the Warriors can't be the next team.
They end up with a 6th seed, which is very possible. Maybe they match up against Houston. Really, you want that young team to play against those guys?
No, not at all. I like Warriors in that matchup.
And Jimmy Butler's probably the 2nd or 3rd best teammate behind Durant that Curry has ever had. I love it. Are we sure? Next on A Numbers Game.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight, and you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbors' dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
Lowe's knows that your deadlines don't change, even when your job does. But with Lowe's Buy Online, Pick Up in Store, we'll help you adjust on the fly. And when you absolutely can't leave the project, we can deliver to your job site as soon as same day. Lowe's knows pros. We help, you save. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Prop Points with Nick.
Another warm day, but we have more wind to contend with that will increase the fire danger throughout the day around Nebraska. Hey everybody, Tim Jones. High of 66 today on Friday. Plenty of sunshine, but 40-mile-per-hour gusts are going to cause breezy conditions, obviously. Overnight tonight, clear skies, a low of 27. Through the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we're in the upper 40s and upper 50s each day, respectively. Still plenty of sunshine and some wind. Into next week, chances for rain and snow early in the week.
Bored of the same old sports coverage? Get on the cutting edge of sports with Extreme Sports.
That ball hammered deep toward left into the well. That ball is gone!
The biggest plays, breaking news, and we can't forget the best sports talk.
Let's be great! Let's be great!
We are Extreme Sports.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Do you want to bet smarter? I know you do. Start with Smarter Insights. Right now you can check out articles like all 30 MLB team previews from Adam Burke. Man, what an exhaustive enterprise. We just say it in one sentence. It doesn't give it enough credit. 30 MLB team previews from Adam Burke, Greg Peterson's best bets in college hoops, Brian Ortega with his final Oscars predictions, and later today you can check out Zach Cohen's best bets in the NBA, Josh Applebaum's college basketball sharp report, and Steve Makinen's NBA analytics report. All of that at VSiN.com. To get access to all the articles right now, you can sign up for as little as $9.99. Just head to VSiN.com/subscribe to sign up today. Today. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Always appreciate the feedback. Darren Narottam, we will address all the parlay stuff with Steve Fezzik a little later on. He was talking. It's fascinating when you do a segment on parlays. Just by the way, we get tweets at Beating the Book. It's so funny whenever you do a parlay segment, you have the contingent of folks who are like, you don't know what you're talking about. I make so much money doing parlays. And it's like, I even offered if they had listened to the clip, right? You know, they just see the headlines, they don't listen. I even offered at the end, I was like, yeah, but in tennis, I kind of do it too, and sometimes it works out very well. Like, so there's that crowd that's like, you don't know what you're talking about, parlays are the greatest thing in the world. But then you have people like Darren, who are much more measured, who said, I agree with you guys that playing parlays leads you down a path of despair long term. However, I think that one can be profitable using two-leg parlays to manipulate the VIG in certain cases, getting plus money pricing. I do this a lot with college basketball. Thoughts? I won't address that now. We will with Steve in terms of how people misplay two-leg parlays. How about that for a tease?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
And there's plenty of good ways to use parlays. Like there's plenty. It's just the what we're seeing the most out of the general public betting is irresponsible parlay betting.
Correct.
Is the way I would put it.
But there's always going to be a contingent on Twitter that just can't have that measured reaction. They've got to tell you how much they won. There's a guy who put out a graph of his winnings on parlays in the last 7 days, and he was going crazy about it. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's great. Congratulations on your 7-day run.
Well, and even if it's longer than that, great for you. If it works for you, great. We're just trying to send what the general masses message is happening.
Thank you very much. Rick Ollier, in my spreadsheet voice, did you just say joint is too high? She was yesterday. Jeremy Burnett's rando baseball player of the day.
Keep betting her. We're going to have some fun with that one, Gil.
Jeff G, 5th year in a row it didn't make it. Oh, they were trying to put sports betting and casino gambling on the ballot in Georgia. And he says 5th year in a row it did not make it in Georgia, but make sure you buy them Lotto scratch-offs and Mega Millions tickets. He's not happy about that. Sky High, Kelly is down 68 American pounds, 4.86 English stones. That's correct. 4.86 English stones. Stones,
that sounds even better.
20 pounds per stone, I believe is what he's saying.
Okay. Yeah.
Or maybe it was 14, something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I
think it's 14. Wise Guys Wager in the always talk about parlays as well. Anyway, we get tweets at Beating the Book. Always appreciate the feedback. Jeff Cam wondering about the VSiN Watch app where he's trying to get it right now, so he's listening on iHeart. And then the picks page. There's something about are we not putting the tennis futures plays, because I don't usually do the futures plays on the picks page, but can we get the tennis futures on there? I feel like the picks page is rigged in favor of the golf bettors over the tennis bettors.
Oh, we've heard that before. Yeah, we've heard that before.
It's true.
I don't know what's missing, but we'll make sure.
You know why? Because golf also is a 4-day event, and so if you hit a tennis one, it just falls off.
Right.
Because it's a week or two in advance.
That's true.
It's all rigged for the golf bettors.
That's true.
All right, you ready for Are We Sure?
I think Bill got an email I saw in the newsletter, right? He was an email of someone complaining about how the three, I think it was the week probably that Matt and I hit Ludwig, where it was like, how could the 3 best handicappers in VSiN have losing records?
Oh, you guys were like someone was 1 in 9. And
yeah, that's awful. That is a lot of my golf weeks sometimes.
Look at these golfers. Look at these guys. All right, are we sure? Estamos seguros.
Can I finish one last? Can I go mini rant on Lakers real quick?
Oh, please. Yes, absolutely.
Everybody in the media, this is for you. When you start talking about Lakers stats and how good they've been recently, stop including any of the ones that included Anthony Davis. Like, we cannot point out how good the Lakers defense has been when the team has completely changed. Seismic change in the roster. It's driving me insane, Gil. Sorry.
This has been Kelly Bidlin blows a gasket.
It's driving me nuts. Okay.
But the main point about that, though, getting back to what we were just saying, is you said it off air, which I think is the best way to concisely say it. Besides the Thunder, can you make a clear case for any team being the second best team in the Western Conference, like beyond a shadow of a doubt? And the answer to me is no.
Yeah,
you can't.
2 through 8 are very bunched, and that's where, like, when you're talking about betting the Warriors or something, I'd rather bet on the upside of what I think the Lakers or the Warriors could be, Gil, than what the Rockets or Timberwolves probably could be.
Yeah. All right.
And they're in those 8.
Are we sure?
All right, are we sure? We've got a lot of sports in here. I'm going to go to the NFL rule changes from yesterday, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are we sure the rule changes the NFL makes this offseason will put all of our complaining to rest?
Are you crazy? No, we're not sure. No. How else? But what are we going to talk about Monday mornings? We're going to complain about all this stuff.
Let me go to the opposite side.
I was complaining yesterday and it hadn't even happened yet.
Yeah, I'm sure that whatever they change, I'm still going to complain about some of the changes they make. All right. Are we sure Cam Ward will be the first quarterback selected in the NFL draft?
You know what? I'm not 100% sure. I'm mostly sure, but I'm not 100% sure. Because we just learned Dallas was talking to Tennessee, trying to trade up. You know who they were going to pick, right? Shador would be my assumption. You know what they say about assuming, though. But I'm just saying, there's a lot that can happen between now and the end of April draft.
I think some of the conversations coming out of the Combine have been very fascinating with, like, the Travis Hunter one. I keep hearing different things about which position. And then Shador Sanders. Like, it is, I feel like I'm hearing some teams higher on him than I thought, like you just said. And then some teams that he seems to be, like, plummeting down their draft board.
This is the ultimate example of, we always say, we get it. Why do teams go quarterback crazy in the first round of an NFL draft? Because you're nothing without a quarterback, right? Washington is the greatest example. They hadn't had a quarterback for decades. All of a sudden, one shows up, and then the entire fate of the franchise has changed. Obviously, it's not that simple, but you get the idea. You are nothing without one. So you've got to, you do go quarterback crazy as you're one of the also-rans in the NFL. I get it, but there is no guarantee any of these guys are actually going to be good at the NFL level. And I don't know if Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders are going to be any good. Some people say Jackson Dart's just as good as both of them, projecting. So I don't know. No, I'm not 100% sure it'll be Cam Ward in the end. Even though right now he's minus 155 to go first.
I know Matt Brown already has. I think I might be getting involved with a Jackson Dart bet at some point.
I mentioned it the other day.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
You did. I think it's more likely than the odds indicate, at least. All right, are we sure Will Levis sees the field next season?
No, I'm not. Because you know what? If cooler heads were prevailing, he shouldn't probably see the field. Because we've seen enough, right?
Yeah.
He's not great at football.
Probably. Or, you know what? I think he's a guy that could probably get some run, but it needs to be somewhere else, and it needs to be as a backup situation.
That's right.
Like,
otherwise, he's just ill-advised Billy Levi.
Yeah. All right, are we sure Aaron Rodgers will be in the NFL next season?
Oh, man. I'm kind of getting sure about it. I don't want to be sure about it. But if Matthew Stafford is gone, doesn't it feel like Aaron Rodgers is like, okay, the Rams are sort of, I don't know how this meeting supposedly is going to go with Stafford today, but it feels like the Rams are in the mode of, well, all right, we don't want to pay Matthew Stafford this, but if we can get Aaron Rodgers for half the price, and we still got these receivers, they won't have Kupp, but they'll have Nakua, right? And they still got good backs. I think he plays. I think I'm 100%. I'm closer to 100% sure on that than I am on anything, sadly.
Yeah, I think it's very limited teams that it makes sense for, but the Rams are one of them. Yeah. And if this Stafford situation continues, I'm with you. I think that Rodgers has a chance.
Because the Rams know they're not as good without the trade, quote unquote, of Stafford giving way to Rodgers. They know they're not as good.
Yeah.
But it's a financial thing.
God, I would love to see Stafford go back in Detroit. That's my favorite idea out there. Of just they do the Goff Stafford trade all over again, and just boom, then you get the quarterback, you're good to go. Okay, are we sure Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will win the MVP?
Oh, man, I'm not 100% sure because I think Jokic deserves consideration. It's his best season ever. I'm close to 100% sure. That it's going to be SGA.
I was not expecting that. Okay.
I'm close to, because I don't trust these NBA voters to do the right thing. By the way, SGA is awesome. It's not the worst thing in the world. It just makes no sense that Jokic wouldn't get it.
I know. SGA has one of the more incredible MVP cases that we've seen in a long time. However,
it's like I said the other day when we were talking about it, when we were going over Montesano's numbers. They're going to give SGA the MVP just because they're tired of doing it for Jokic. And so then they won't give Defensive Player of the Year to SGA when really his numbers suggest he should win that. Instead, they're going to give it to these guys that have the same or worse defensive numbers than they've had in previous years.
But guess what? If somehow Jokic does go MVP, enough people are going to figure out a way to make those SGA Defensive Player of the Year numbers work that he actually is live in that market. Okay, are we sure Kenny Atkinson has done a more impressive coaching job with the Cleveland Cavaliers than the second shot on the Coach of the Year board, J.B. Bickerstaff, has done with the Pistons?
No, it's a great question. We're not sure of that, but Kenny Atkinson had so much buzz about him for so many years to become a head coach that people view it that way.
Okay, really quick. Are we sure enough has happened in a week for Janai Broom to move to a minus 240 favorite?
No, but I made the case the other day. He is the best player on the best team in the best conference in college basketball, so he probably should be the favorite. But I don't want that big of a favorite.
Keep it in the fairway, Lowry. Come on.
Did OJ Aliassime win yet? We'll check all that out. Coming back, Weingarten, Fezzik, Falika, and more. It's a numbers game at VSiN.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details. Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, $149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. $149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Good morning, I'm Mike Will. The sports update on Extreme Sports. The Big Ten Conference has announced its volleyball conference schedule rotation for the 2025 season. Nebraska will play Michigan, Michigan State, and Penn State in a home-and-home series this year. The Huskers will host Illinois, Ohio State, Maryland, Northwestern, Washington, and Oregon. And Nebraska will travel to Indiana, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Purdue, Rutgers, UCLA, and USC. The Nebraska baseball team will play Sam Houston tonight in the Frisco College Baseball Classic in Frisco, Texas. The Huskers are currently 3-4 in the season. First pitch will be at 6. The Nebraska softball team will play in the Wichita State tournament this weekend. The Huskers will play 2 games today against San Diego State and Oklahoma State. The Hastings College softball team will play in the Friends University tournament this weekend down in Wichita. The Broncos will play Peru State and Ottawa on Saturday, in Avila and Mayville State on Sunday. Hastings College baseball team will host Mayville State in a 4-game series this weekend. Saturday's doubleheader gets underway at 1. Action gets underway at noon on Sunday. Hastings College women's basketball team will battle number 1 ranked Dordt tomorrow in the semifinals of the GPAC postseason tournament. The Broncos beat Northwestern 81-70 in the opening round on Wednesday, while the Defenders defeated Concordia 80-66. Two teams have split their regular season series. Dordt won 82-54 in Sioux Center, while the Broncos won 91-83 in Hastings. Tip-off will be at 2 at the DeWitt Gymnasium. We'll have the action on Extreme Sports beginning with a pregame show at 1:45. In the other semifinal game, Briar Cliff will play at Dakota Wesleyan. The winners play on Tuesday for the championship. On the men's side, Morningside will play at Dordt, and Northwestern is at Concordia. In boys high school basketball last night, Holdridge beat Adams Central 59-43 to win the C1 8 sub-district title. The Patriots struggled offensively, hitting only 30% of their shots in the game, including 4 of 23 from long range. Hunter Neppel had 25 points, 15 rebounds, and 2 blocked shots for Adams Central. Patriots are now 16-9 in the season and will advance to play Ogallala in a district final. St. Cecilia lost to Blue Hill 43-38 in the D1 4 sub-district final. The Hawks end the season at 2-22. Hastings High lost to Northwest 63-54 in the semifinals of the B7 sub-district tournament. And that is sports.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. Earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code ANG.
ANG is an A numbers game.
Deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match the deposit. That's edgeboost.bet. Skill Alexander, we get tweets at Beating the Book. Always appreciate the feedback. This is from Jason H11, who says, it's amazing how many shades of red that Kelly turns when he's ranting. I think we need to create a scale. Mikey, Can we get a claw machine update from Jason? Yes, we will get that momentarily. And then Brandon Webb, I don't believe it's the former Major Leaguer Brandon Webb, but it's Brandon Webb nonetheless.
Probably is.
Talking about the quarterbacks in this year's NFL draft, at the top he says, are we sure that Joe Milton isn't better than any draft prospect available this year? I'm with you, man. I'm totally with you. By the way, Joe Milton can throw a football longer than any human being I've ever seen. I don't know if he has any idea where it's going, but he can. What a cannon for Joe Milton. I'm with you, man. I'm not sure about that. A. Brown, down in Jungle Land. He said, nothing is more infuriating than making no-brainer bets on awards markets only to have asinine justification/narratives drive actual outcomes. Like many, I've been burned on Hamlin, Comeback Player of the Year, Wembanyama, Defensive Player of the Year, and again this year will be on Jokic MVP and SGA Defensive Player of the Year at 60-1. That's right. Oh man,
the best is we all can't stop betting them though, because we think we're right, and there's nothing better than the payoff when you're right.
Well, and I love Michael Montesano, and I hope Michael's listening, and I mean this with love. He is so passionate about it, that when he asked me, he said, I was on with you and with Kelly and Joe when you were out. He says, can you watch this? He's like, watch the segment. And I watched the segment, and he was frothing at the mouth how excited he was and how passionate he is about his numbers. And I worry that he's going to spiral into drugs, depression, and alcohol when it doesn't work out his way. That's how it works. Jamie Leva, golf getting preferential treatment over tennis at the country club. I feel like we need a country club in confrontation, similar to the Anchorman news team skirmish. Have a fantastic weekend, gentlemen.
What does that mean? Is there golf first in the Open or something?
No. He was talking about how I was saying there's preferential treatment on the picks page.
Oh.
Yeah.
Got it.
Were you here earlier?
Got it.
Yeah. Kevin Ryan, Gil, are we sure Steve Fezzik isn't a cyborg? We are not sure. He's a robot, has a robot brain. But it's always interesting when it comes to numbers and betting.
The hair's robotic. It's always perfect.
Yeah, always perfect.
Always perfect.
Speaking of perfect hair, ladies and gentlemen, it comes to us from under a cloud of smoke in Southern California, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on Twitter at Spreadopedia, and he's got a couple things stuck in his craw. It's Jason Weingarten, everybody. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. Watching South African Open this morning. It's always nice to get some morning golf on.
Yeah.
Nothing to complain about today.
How's the Cactus League stuff going for you on AM radio? Now all of us have you pictured just in a car driving around town with your AM radio working.
It's good. I was doing that yesterday. I almost took a picture for you to show you me driving around with the AM radio on. But Dodgers game, it was like scoreless for like 6 innings yesterday, so I lost some interest in that. Although, one thing to point out with the Cactus League stuff, with the Dodgers and the Cubs starting the season, 3 weeks from now, approximately on the 17th, actually it's probably shorter than 3 weeks from now, their pitchers are all accelerated. They're already throwing 50 pitches. Their starters are up 50 pitches. So next time through the rotation, you should expect Dodgers and the Cubs starters to basically get full workloads.
Yeah, because the Dodgers and Cubs, for those who don't know what Jason's talking about, play those. Major League Baseball has done this for a long time now. We remember when we were old enough to remember when they first started doing this wacky thing where a couple teams would play a couple games before the rest of the schedule actually started. As a way to globalize the game of baseball, as if baseball needed globalization. It already does have that. Okay, there's a couple things I was mentioning earlier that are bothering you. I hope you don't mind me mentioning. One of which is the way the Rams are handling the Matthew Stafford situation. Why does this upset you so much?
Well, it sounds like there's going to be some resolution either today or this weekend, but the whole process, the Rams want Stafford back, but they don't really want him back. And they're also, this is a cap room situation. They have about $41 million in cap room. He wants 50. So they're going to have to make some moves to get under the cap if they want him back. But all the words that McVay and everyone's using, this does not sound like a situation where the Rams want Matt Stafford back. And even if he comes back at this point, you've spent the last month telling him, hey, we'd rather somebody else pay you all the money. We're not bringing back Cooper Kupp. We're not doing all these things you want. I just don't really see it as a viable situation for him to come back. I don't think either side is fully on board with the other at this point.
Yeah, you're right. We could see some resolution today, and rumors are, again, if you believe reports, that both the Raiders and the Giants perhaps have a deal in works already for Stafford. So could be resolved as early as today. We shall see. The other one I mentioned that was bothering you is this whole Travis Hunter thing. What is stuck in your craw about that?
So Travis Hunter, I think he'll be a top pick. I think he's going to play at least one way in the NFL. I don't know if he's a wide receiver or a defensive back, but I think the idea that he's going to day one be a cornerback and a wide receiver is just absolutely comical. If he's getting that advice, it's bad advice from the people giving it to him. For one thing, he's going to be on a rookie contract. Playing both ways on a rookie contract like that would be insane. but I just don't physically think Hunter or anybody is going to play, upwards of close to full starter snaps on both sides of the ball in the NFL. And like I mentioned to you, people always bring the comparisons up to Deion Sanders, but the reality is Deion Sanders had something like 15 targets in his career for the first 5 years and only became a two-way player when he joined the Cowboys 5-6 years into his career, after he'd already won a Defensive Player of the Year, after he'd already won a Super Bowl, when he was the highest paid player in the league. That's when he started playing both ways. And even then, his best year, if you look at like 1995, I think he got like 67 targets. And again, it's playing both ways. You're playing on a Super Bowl team. Not saying that Deion Sanders wasn't a contributor and he didn't play great, but the expectations people have that Hunter is going to, get 100 targets and line up at cornerback is just preposterous, I think is the right word. You got to at least have expectations and a reasonable sort of strata here. And I think, some of the things we're hearing about Travis are just not realistic.
I think you're 100% right. And for those of us who lived through Deion Sanders' professional playing career, not to mention his college one, but as his pro career, we don't think of him necessarily as a two-way player, right? He was like this great kick returner, punt returner / cornerback. And like, we get that he played offense, but it's almost like a footnote that he played offense. And we don't think of him as a two-way offensive defensive player. So 100% on that. And by the way, and then later in his career, he just stole money from Dan Snyder. So there was a whole arc to his career. But yeah, I'm totally with you on that. The best point you make is the rookie contract thing. If you are Travis Hunter's agent or friend, the very first thing you say is, bro, if you want to do this, don't do it when you haven't made the big money yet. Like, relax with that for 4 years.
Yeah. So I just think, when you hear a lot of this stuff being said this week at the Combine, you gotta take a lot of it with a grain of salt. There's just so much stuff being said out there that just has no bearing on reality.
The other part of this too, like we've talked about this a little bit, it's just when you're seeing like draft big board stuff and he's the number 2 guy or something in the class, and it's we're talking that way because we're still talking about him playing both positions. But if we all think it's more likely that he's going to start playing one position, where does he actually rate out compared to other wide receivers or corners? Because as you and I have both said, sorry, give me McMillan over him at wide receiver.
100%. Sorry, Travis Hunter fans. That's exactly how I feel. What are you betting this weekend, Jason? What do you got?
Got a little bit of golf. I'll be doing some grapefruit league. Maybe some basketball. I always have my eye on the college basketball, a little bit on the NBA. But otherwise, it's mostly just catching up on baseball, getting more futures in. I bet a little bit on Sandy Alcantara after the last show. I got 25-1 at Circa. I think that was the best number left out there. It was 40 before his first start. I didn't get a chance to catch any of the 40, but I've seen some compelling cases made that they'll have opportunities to pitch, this year. And again, the only major impediment here for Alcantara is the Marlins, not likely to be a serious contender this year. Could potentially trade him at some point during the season. Could kill the ticket if he gets traded to the American League.
Yeah.
So, that's something to keep in mind, but sounds like there's no restrictions on him pitching, and he'll get 5-6 innings at least every 5 days if he's healthy. So Alcantara is my first nice futures bet of the year, Sandy.
Jason, here at Circa, they have alternate season win totals in baseball. So it's like 5 games or 6 games staggered to each side of the actual season win total. Just letting you know, got to run, but just letting you know that they exist here. Something we're going to talk about with Fezzik coming up on the show.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I'll probably up with.
All right. I don't know what Jason said there at the end, but I think he was bidding us adieu.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. We got to run. We'll come back. Fezzik, Falika, and more. It's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Hey, it's Bill from VSiN. You may know me as the guy who writes the VSiN Daily Newsletter, but I'm also one of VSiN's owners. If you're a business owner like I am, you need to reach customers ready to spend, right? VSiN talks to millions of engaged sports fans every month, folks with money in their pockets, ready to bet on the next big game. If you want to connect with this audience, email me at bill@vsin.com. Let's talk about how VSiN can help your business, no matter what its size, win big.
The Sports Gambling Podcast live at VSiN.
Another warm day, but we have more wind to contend with that will increase the fire danger throughout the day around Nebraska. Hey everybody, Tim Jones. High of 66 today on Friday. Plenty of sunshine, but 40-mile-per-hour gusts are going to cause breezy conditions, obviously. Overnight tonight, clear skies, a low of 27. Through the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we're in the upper 40s and upper 50s each day, respectively. Still plenty of sunshine and some wind. In the next week, chances for rain and snow early in the week.
Sustainable Seed Solutions. Your local Beck's dealer wishes all area teams a great fall season. At Beck's, we are dedicated to supplying farmers with the right products for the right field, regardless of the trait or source company. With our own line of elite germplasm and unique relationships with genetic suppliers worldwide, we provide farmers with the best seed, period. The choices at Beck's gives our customers a competitive advantage, providing the genetic diversity and trait protection they need, all from one company. Call us at 402-751-0089 or find us at sustainableseedsolutions.com. And good luck to all the area schools and athletes this fall.
Sundays are meant for relaxation and indulgence, and there's no better place to do it than at Bullseye Sports Bar and Grill in Hastings. Enjoy the Sunday brunch buffet from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., featuring an irresistible spread of breakfast favorites that will make your taste buds dance. Choose from fluffy pancakes, sizzling bacon, fresh fruits, and so much more. It's all you can eat and everything you could ever want. Bullseye Sports Bar and Grill, located at 2017 West 2nd, across from the water park in Hastings.
Get ready, race fans. Cam Raceway is teaming up with Extreme Sports for an electrifying season of high-speed, dirt-slinging, adrenaline-pumping action. Every race night, we're bringing you live video coverage straight from the track, so you won't miss a single lap, pass, or photo finish. From non-wing warriors to cage carts, flat carts, and the A-class winged beasts, we've got it all. There's nothing like the roar of the engines, the smell of burning rubber, and the rush of dirt flying action right in front of you. So get to the track and experience it live. But if you can't make it, don't sweat. Extreme Sports has you covered. Buckle up, because this season is going to be fast, fierce, and unforgettable. Make sure you like and follow Extreme Sports on Facebook to get all the latest updates, and we will see you at the track.
Numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Don't take a swing in the dark. Step up to the plate prepared with VSiN's MLB Betting Guide. This is so good. Get expert tips on how to bet baseball, including a stats glossary to help you break down key analytics. Dive into awards market analysis for MVP and Cy Young and gain a player's perspective on evaluating pitchers from former Major League Baseball pitcher Jensen Lewis. And, of course, the co-host of Buy the Books with our buddy Dave Ross, each and every weekday morning here at the network. From advanced metrics to sharp betting angles, the VSiN MLB Betting Guide is your ultimate playbook for the season. Avoid strikeouts at the sportsbook. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today for as low as $9.99. Get your copy of the MLB Betting Guide today. It's Adam Burke's finest work. This is his War and Peace, Kelly.
Yes.
This is his...
the good stuff.
Anna Karenina. Or I'm just coming up with classic books. Sign up today at vsin.com/subscribe. That's vsin.com/subscribe. VSIN.com/subscribe if you're scoring at home. We got a golf update, man? Are they cognizant?
I do have a golf update for you.
Are you cognizant of the Cognizant leaderboard by any chance?
I am. This is, man, yesterday we saw this course play, I think the easiest it's ever played. The Bear Trap, the tough holes 15 through 17 played easier than they ever have before. Easier. Did I say tough? Easy. They played yesterday.
I just want to know, how's Daniel Bergier doing?
Oh, we're live, buddy. We're live.
Okay.
I mean, the one I've been struggling to hold back a live bet on is my buddy Kashmir Keith, who figured out how to putt again.
Kashmir Keith.
Right now,
it's
you're
not like a Maserati Marv thing. You remember that morning when Ohio State was playing and Gus Johnson was like, if I this is the last day on earth, we'll make Maserati Marv a thing.
Like, I don't know how Kashmir Keith came about, but he does rock the just to set himself apart. He's always the guy rocking the normal golf shirt, but it's got like 4 more buttons, like down to his belly button. So then he's really like, he leaves it wide open, like with the chest out. Okay, Jake Knapp, still your leader, 12 under. Keith Mitchell has moved into second place. He is 2 under on his round today through 14. He is 9 under for the tournament. Johnny Vegas, 8 under. Wow.
Johnny Vegas.
Yeah, man. Johnny Vegas, 8 under, 5 under today on his round. JJ Spawn, 8 under as well. He's out there through 9. Berger is 8 under. Russell Henley, 8 under. Sammy Valimaki, 8 under. All of them have not teed off yet. And then you got a bunch of guys at 7 under. Berger putted lights out yesterday and a little shaky off the tee. So we're going to need to keep that putting going, or hopefully the driver gets a little better. It's not exactly how he's been looking the past 6 months or so. But he's live, man. I mean, what a round. Really, the story of the tournament is just this golf course, which is one of the tougher golf courses on the PGA Tour. Conditions have just been perfect.
Look at that. Look how beautiful it is.
It's been perfect the first day and a half. This afternoon maybe is a little bit more dangerous. Usually the mornings do play out a little easier. We are in South Florida. The afternoon thunderstorms can kick up. But, man, with little wind, we did see this course play a little bit easier a year ago, but they tightened fairways. There's been no wind really that we've seen, Gil. Man, these guys are just eating this course alive right now.
You have no Gary Woodland? You usually have some Gary Woodland.
I have a top 20 on Gary Woodland, yeah. I have a top 20. It's not. He's going backwards today, though. That's not good because these guys in the morning should be playing a little bit better.
You have no Jake Knapp, though.
No Jake Knapp. I would say if you were going to force me for a bet right now, I added a little. I don't think this is going all that well either, but I did add a little Shane Lowry top 20 yesterday. He is even. Yeah, he's even on his round through 11.
What is Berger live now to win?
Berger is, let's see, let me pull up the odds. The other guy that was jumping out to me is Ricky Fowler. Just looking at the stats, Berger live is plus 650.
Plus 650, he's 4 back.
It's 4 back, yep. Jake Knapp plus 330, and then it's Berger and Henley, both plus 650.
Isn't Berger the best bet on the board right now? It feels like it to me. I mean, that's the course that he played it a million times.
I mean, I still like it. I bet a pre-tournament. I would. Henley's had a lot of success here, too.
What'd you get the pre-flop?
25?
Yeah.
25. Yeah, so I still love that bet. A little concerning some of the stats yesterday, though. Seeing him being that wayward off the tee is not what he's been doing recently, so that concerns me a little bit. I rarely ever say this, or it's been years since I've said this. I do think Ricky Fowler's worth a look. Tee to green, he was second in the field yesterday, only behind Jake Knapp, who was just incredible everywhere.
This is. I feel like I'll do a Wishnev here, and I'll say I'll do everybody a favor. I won't bet Berger so that you can win with him.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Because this is Wishnev says this all the time. Like whenever he thinks of something and doesn't bet it, it's like 1,000,001 lifetime, right?
Yeah.
And in golf, for me, it doesn't usually work out if I bet it, right? A live bet like this. So I will stay off it. Y'all can win with it.
Oh, thanks, Gil. You're the best.
Science.
Yeah, the other thing I'll say about this tournament is this is one of those tournaments that, and look, I might be a little biased because I covered this for a lot of years, but I don't bring up course history. I don't feel like I weigh it as much as a lot of other golf handicappers, especially when we get into the heart of the season. No, we're not completely there yet, but regardless, course history, I don't weigh as much as a lot of other golf handicappers out there, but I do think this is a bit more sticky at this course because these guys that have played it before, we usually see in the mix. Now, usually the scores are not as low, Gil, so that it's a little easier, in my opinion, to make that to continue scoring lower at this course. So when you see tournaments like this where everybody's going low, it's a little odd to me that the course history is still sticking there with guys like Keith Mitchell, Daniel Berger, Russell Henley, Chris Kirk, Ricky Fowler. All these guys have won or played very well at this tournament before, and they're all in that top 10, top 20 on the leaderboard. So interesting to watch. I think the weekend we'll see some weather roll through at some point. This tournament will toughen up.
I know I said that I'm sort of obsessed with Daniel Berger, and the last time we talked about him, I was saying, hey, do you know who his father is? And you correctly said Jay Berger, who was once number 7 on the tour. Do you know what his middle name is? Daniel Berger's middle name?
No.
F.
Just F.
F. Daniel F. Berger. So you can fill in the blank. It's legitimately his middle name. F.
My dad's a J.
Really?
Yeah.
Just a letter.
He's a J, just a letter.
It's like a Harry S. Truman thing.
I don't know what it is either, but
F is just a funny one to have, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
By the way, Maya Joint, our tennis play, she's up to minus 128 now. She was minus 127 when this segment started. She's now minus 128. I would not, if you have not bet it yet, I would not let it get past minus 135 at the most. That's around where she should be. So minus 128's kind of drifting back upwards. But again, we got minus 119 on Joint against Avanesian in Mérida, Mexico.
So what you're saying is, Daniel, no matter how much you might dislike that first name, don't lose it. Because it would be real awkward if we're going to start calling you by middle name, last name.
Daniel F. Berger. Okay, DeGeri, by the way, the other tennis play from earlier in Santiago in the clay court tournament at plus 330 heading into the quarterfinals. Can we get back to the Warriors thing? Because Fezzik's going to come here. We're going to go into like a million topics, and so Felico's going to have a bunch of bets. But I am, the whole time after this Warriors discussion, I am really talking myself into Western Conference play. Let's put it this way. I can't wait, as sort of exhaustive the NBA season is. I can't wait for the playoffs. And we said last year, remember, like, oh, I can't wait for the Western Conference playoffs. They're going to be so awesome. And I don't know that they necessarily lived up to the hype. But I do think the dynamic this year is particularly fascinating because while the Thunder are clearly the best team, they are young. And as we talked about with Carl Sack earlier this week, the thing that NBA handicappers will tell you about the postseason is, well, you got to really kind of shrink your rotation. And the Thunder have so much depth that you wonder, is that an advantage, or in some weird way they don't get an advantage in the postseason because everybody else tightens up and they play their players anyway, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm not articulating that correctly. Is that rotations shrink? You end up with the best 8 players typically.
Yeah.
And so if you're a team like the Thunder that relies on beyond 8,
one of your great advantages is how much production and how many minutes you're able to get out of guys 7 through 10.
Yes, in an 82-game schedule, that works out. But in a best of 7, I'm not sure that's the greatest thing. And it's a little counterintuitive, right? Because what's the famous Stats by Lopez stat that I always give? In the NBA playoffs, 80-some% of favorites get through. Yeah, but that's usually, front-ended, right, in the first round of stuff. I'll be really interested to see if the Thunder can sustain this throughout the course of a conference playoffs, because people calling it, what are people calling it, the Thunder Invitational? I disagree with that completely.
Yeah, I think this is very much of a case, though, of what you say often. To me, it is. It's a thing until it's not a thing, right?
It's a thing until it's not a thing, but what else do I say? I was like, the folks who are too close to the sun on the NBA, the regular season almost hampers you.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
And those of us who show up are like, I get Steph, Jimmy Buckets, and Draymond, and you get the young kids.
I mean, I'm a big believer in star power in the playoffs, so that's like maybe the biggest point to me is, okay, there's Shea, and I'll fight anybody back on how good Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is.
Oh, he's fantastic.
But you want to question me on who steps up if he gets shut down or something like that offensively? Yeah, I get it.
We mentioned this on text the other night. Are you sure Holmgren and Hartenstein work together?
I'm sure they'll figure it out. Worst case scenario, one of them's just spelling the other.
I took that as a no, not currently.
Not currently.
All right. Just want to make that point.
Thunder with the greatest point differential in NBA history right now.
Fezzik on the other side. So many betting topics. Stick around. It's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, Price Lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is at the White House today meeting with US President Donald Trump to sign an economic partnership that could help end the war in Ukraine. President Trump is applying maximum pressure. He wants a deal done quickly, he says, or not at all. But President Zelensky is seeking security guarantees as part of an agreement. Ever since Benji Hire has more from Washington.
The stakes for Ukraine are existential, a real now or never moment. A deal Donald Trump claims will lead to a ceasefire 3 years after Russia's invasion. The pact would offer American access to Ukraine's valuable natural mineral wealth. The Trump administration insists this would act as a security guarantee in its own right. President Zelensky is open to the idea, but is after firm assurances that the US will still have Ukraine's back in the face of Russian aggression. The two leaders have a tense relationship, with Trump recently calling his democratically elected Ukrainian counterpart a dictator, and falsely claiming his country is responsible for starting the war. Benji Hire, Washington.
Israel is reportedly pushing for a 42-day extension to the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal. Last-minute talks are taking place in the Egyptian capital Cairo, with phase 1 of the agreement set to expire on Saturday. Ever Giles Gibson reports from Tel Aviv.
Extending the ceasefire by 6 weeks would be politically advantageous for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It would likely lead to the release of more hostages being held in Gaza and mean that the PM could avoid a confrontation with far-right members of his coalition who are strongly against Phase 2. However, Hamas is insisting on sticking to the original agreement and wants to progress to the second phase immediately. It's supposed to see the release of all remaining hostages and the withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza. At this stage, the ceasefire collapsing entirely can't be ruled out. Giles Gibson, Tel Aviv.
US police say actor Gene Hackman and his wife, who were found dead at their home on Thursday, may have died several weeks ago. Investigations are continuing, with authorities calling their deaths suspicious. 95-year-old Gene Hackman and 65-year-old Betsy Arakawa were found dead at their home in Santa Fe, New Mexico. They were discovered in different rooms with a bottle of prescription pills nearby. Beijing has threatened to hit back at President Donald Trump's threat to slap an extra 10% duty on Chinese imports on top of 10% tariffs that he already imposed last month. China has accused the White House of shifting the blame and taking steps to destabilize global supply chains. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN.
VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics. This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Our number 2 of a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course SiriusXM channel 158. Always appreciative that you're here with us. Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidlin is alongside as well, but it is a Friday and no time to lose because we have about 35 topics to get to. I counted. With Steve Fezzik, the only back-to-back winner of the Hilton Super Contest, he joins us now in the studio to talk about all kinds of things.
And here we are on... Whether it's at the sportsbook or anywhere else in the casino, he's always helping us find an edge. It's time for Fezzik Fridays.
I completely botched that.
No, I botched it. I should have anticipated. You know what this is? We're groggy because, Gilly's prepping for a show at 5 a.m. and then nonstop live wagering college basketball from 3:30 until about 10:30 till the Arizona or the Hawaii game ends.
Handicapping tennis throughout as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in all honesty, you probably work 16 hours a day, right?
Kelly and I talk about this all the time, right? So Kelly's handicapping golf. Like when you have like 5 tennis tournaments, and there's earlier in the week it's worse because as the brackets move on and you get to the quarters and the semis, it's a little easier towards the end of the week. But at the beginning of the week, there's like 70 matches, right?
You have to love it. If you don't love it, this is not the job for you. I've heard people say, "Oh gosh, Sunday, I got to watch the Sunday night football game, and I'm already tired. I want to go shopping with my sister." And it's just like, this is not probably your role if that's the case.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we talk about that all the time. It's like, you don't just show up and do 2 hours. You're working all the time on stuff. It's a great life. Don't get me wrong, but what's the line? It's a tough way to make an easy living, they say.
Well, and do what you love, and you won't have to work a minute your entire life.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Okay, we have tons of things to talk about, a lot of which is, and I'm flattered by this because you're always listening, there was some stuff that we talked about yesterday, and I'll just go through them in no particular order. One was the guy who, if you missed the show yesterday when Crack was on, Crack Thursdays, Unscripted, we talked about
Crack.
Oh, it's fantastic. Just completely off the cuff. And we brought up this guy in Pennsylvania who won in quotes, a $57,000 jackpot on a slot machine. But because he had self-reporting being a mechanism with gaming and with compliance, where if you are a problem gambler, it is a mechanism to sort of defend against yourself, defend against your own bad instincts. And so because he had self-excluded, $57,000 that he won, he didn't win it. They withheld it from him. And you believe, which I think is an interesting thing, you believe he still has a case.
Well, I think it'd be fascinating. You should call Bob Nersessian, who's like a gaming lawyer. And so I know he signed a disclaimer saying, that he's foregoing his rights to any future jackpots when he does this. However, there is a precedent with lots of cases. Like if a casino says maximum bet $1,000, if a sports book says max bet college basketball $1,000, and I say I want $3,000, once they print the ticket, or if I go to a blackjack table and I bet $3,000, I have action. The casino, despite the rule, they have accepted the wager. So once they book the bet or they let me bet it, my understanding is that if I win, I get paid my full amount. So the fact that you had this rule that he's not allowed to wager and he's not eligible for the jackpot, but they're accepting all these wagers. And if he's registered, if he has a player's card, I would think that would trump the previous agreement that the fact that the casino is taking this action. I also think it's a stupid rule, and the legislators need to change it because here's why.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You're giving problem gamblers a huge disincentive to ever sign up because, like, oh, God forbid I ever hit a jackpot. I'm the biggest Dumbo in the world. I put my name on this no jackpot list.
Well, it's interesting because it's probably a state-by-state thing, right? Because Vital Vegas was pointing out on Twitter yesterday to me that if this was in Nevada, right, that the person would have gotten the jackpot and then they would have been removed from the premises. Sure. But he signed to language that apparently was very explicit, like you're not entitled to any winnings that you have. But you made the point, or some of us made the point off air, if not on, which is, okay, but what if he went in there and lost money? Where's that money go? So I don't know. It's going to be fascinating because some lawyer will pursue this.
And it's shocking how fast my buddies, like Richard Munchkin, that's so good at he's not my buddy, but he's a great blackjack player, probably one of the top 5 in the world.
And a gentleman, by the way.
And a fantastic guy, and 100 times smarter than you, me, or anyone else. Like, how come when he walks in a disguise within 5 seconds they can have security say, "I'm sorry, sir, you're not allowed to be playing"?
Yeah.
And yet this gentleman, somehow losing gambler, not nearly the same level of scrutiny to make sure he's not playing in the casino.
It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. What ends up ruling the day in terms of the law there. The other thing I talked about yesterday, or one of the other things, was parlays. Bill and I got into a parlay discussion. I don't know how you felt I did on that, but I sort of gave the 3 the 3 acceptable reasons to actually bet them. I also allowed at the end, if anybody listened to the clip, I actually allowed that in tennis I still do them. But I don't even think about doing it in any other sport because tennis I know I have an edge. But you wanted to make a point about those because we actually got a question about this earlier. You wanted to make a point about folks who play 2-leg parlays. And then once they hit the first, they behave in a certain way.
Yes, and just anyone who missed the segment yesterday, basically, and this is basic strategy, the pros know this, you play parlays to circumvent limits, you play parlays to do correlations, you play parlays to look like a Dumbo.
That's right.
To preserve
Those are the 3.
Your playing lifetime. And also you can play parlays for special promotions. A place might play a 2-team parlay at 14-5. So that's like laying minus 105. So you get extra half points on a parlay card or, better promotion. But cancel all that. None of that applying. The problem, I see this all the time. People like trying to look smart that are really stupid. All right.
And this bothers you more than anything.
More than anything. In fact, to the point where even if someone is a good handicapper, I will never recommend them when they give this out to clients because it's just so wrong. It's not my opinion. It's not what Steve Fezzik thinks. You take 100 geeks from the University of Chicago, math geeks, and you ask all 100 independently, who do they agree with? They're all going to agree with me. Mm-hmm. So maybe all 100 of these math geniuses are wrong. And you're right. But probably the University of Chicago people are right. Namely, so you parlay 2 minus 240 baseball favorites, and the first one gets home. And now the Dodgers are playing the Reds, and they're still minus 240. The line's still the same. And here they come. Oh, let's lock in a profit because my parlay was minus 100. I didn't lay minus 240. I'm laying minus 100 on my ticket. No, you're not. You're laying minus 240. The first bet has won. You've won 100. Now you have $340 basically risk to win 140 on the Dodgers. So they say, I want to lock in a profit. I want to play the Reds, plus 210. All right. You're not locking in a profit. You're locking in a loss. You're essentially laying minus 240 and taking plus 210. And then sometimes like, I want to play the run line then. And then I got a big middle. It's all wrong on every layer, and every single competent math guy and sports bettor will tell you the same thing.
I think you made this point about this particularly, but I believe it applies to beyond sports betting. I think this is more of like a human condition thing. Betting, it really is a reflection of the human condition, which is people would rather be wrong their way than right your way.
I was having an argument, absolutely, and
it's beyond sports betting. I think that's just human nature.
It's beyond sports betting, and I'm guilty. We're all guilty of this. Yeah. We have so much conviction. Think about your feelings about global warming. All right. No one really knows what's going on, okay? You look back in the 70s, it was cold as all heck, and it felt like we were going into an ice age, all right? And everyone was talking about, like, all this industry is going to create an ice age. Personally, I think global warming is a thing, and I'm concerned about it. My best friend isn't worried at all. He has so much conviction on this, and I'm like, John, neither one of us can be sure. There's not enough data. It's incomplete and imperfect. It's like a poker. It's like a range of hands. You can say, my opinion is this, on a lot of things, but you just can't be sure. And so many things in life. Now, the difference is in gambling, mathematics, and the like, it's different. Like when you're playing a game like roulette on an unbiased wheel, or you're playing craps, or you're playing video poker, the math is the math, and there's no debating the math.
No debating the math whatsoever. Okay, there's also something, and this will bleed into the next segment, but there's also something going on here at Circa, right behind us, with baseball win totals. They have put out, and we should give Circa what the kids say, give them their flowers for putting these out. These are, in the NFL, we're kind of used to them now. And usually when Circa does the NFL ones, they're sort of staggered on a couple layers on each side of the actual pre-flop season win total. So
these are the alternatives.
The
so
alternative
they're higher
season
and
win
lower.
totals.
By example, in football, if a season win number is 9.5, usually it's a game or 2 games. So go 10.5, 8.5, up and down. So in baseball, since it's a longer season, Circa has taken it to a little wider, where it's 6 games plus and minus.
Correct. That's what I was going to say. But the reason I bring this up is because the text that I always love getting a text that begins with, my son and I did the binomial distribution. And so you guys figured out these are great bets.
It's really fun. So for the binomial distribution loves betting that taking the extra game or taking the extra 6 games in baseball, because but it's complicated because the binomial distribution assumes, let's just assume a 500 baseball team playing another average team for 162 games. And if you just flip coins 162 times, it would say, wow, I want to play under 87 or I want to go ahead and play over 75. All right, and I'm willing to lay minus 250. Now, here's the hard part. It's not just a binomial distribution because these teams, we don't know if we have a fair coin. Let's say a team's lined at 81 games. Tampa Bay, for instance.
Right.
Maybe they're better than 81. Maybe they're worse. We're not going to find out till they actually play. Further, as the season progresses, the coin does become biased. Injuries, roster changes, etc. Look no further than like the White Sox last year, that by early May, we realized that pre-flop number, whatever it was, 70, can't recall, was just so wrong, and this was just almost an all-time worst. It was an all-time worst baseball team, so the coin can be biased. So the binomial distribution calculating based upon the anchored pre-flop number is going to overvalue how often you're going to land within the number. And the whale capper figured this out in football.
He did. He was the first person to bring it up.
And all accolades to him, because I kind of poo-pooed it. Like he was like, take plus 200 and give up a game. And he was absolutely right.
His sentence in English was, the notion that those are priced correctly is probably a fallacy.
Right. And the reason being is they're priced based upon the binomial distribution only.
We'll get to what Steve actually bet on that and so much more. Steve Fezzik, Numbers Game, VSiN, coming.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a Colonial with high ceilings, hardwood floors, and a peaceful neighborhood. And you found it. Now, every Saturday at 6 a.m., you get to wake to the sound of your neighbor's leaf blower. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Another warm day, but we have more wind to contend with that will increase the fire danger throughout the day around Nebraska. Hey everybody, Tim Jones, high of 66 today on Friday. Plenty of sunshine, but 40-mile-per-hour gusts are going to cause breezy conditions, obviously. Overnight tonight, clear skies, a low of 27. Through the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we're in the upper 40s and upper 50s each day respectively. Still plenty of sunshine and some wind. In the next week, chances for rain and snow early in the week.
You're locked in to Extreme Sports.
Olivares now hits a line drive to deep left field. Ward is back to the wall. Granny time!
Here's Doncic wheeling inside in traffic and got it to go. Calling the foul.
The home of 24/7 Sports Talk. Nothing but pure sports action. A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Numbers Game live from Circa here in downtown Las Vegas. Gil Alexander with Steve Fezzik hanging out with us on a Friday. Fezzik Fridays. Messed up the intro earlier. My bad. Sorry about that.
No, I messed it up.
Well, no, I think it was both of us. Anyway, real quick, because you had a bunch of stuff you want to talk about. You did bet the Royals in these alternate season win totals we were talking about. What did you bet?
So I like the handicap. I heard Royals under 83.5. I do think there should be a fine.
Heard from?
You.
No, Adam Burke.
Adam Burke.
Adam Burke on this show.
Adam's going to get mad at me. $40 fine because he said 83.5, and that wasn't like readily available. But that's fine. He's still making me money, so I'm happy. And I like this whole handicap. And to summarize, Adam said that the Royals are overvalued, and there's a Ragans like their ace might be as good, but he's not going to be better, and they're pitching suspect, and all these reasons why the Royals.
Yeah,
he likes under 83.5 or 82.5. But so I'm like, okay, let me take a look at these. Benson put them up, these alternative season wins. What's this? The Royals are 88.5. The Royals are not winning 90 games. The Royals, if they somehow overachieve again to the point that their noses bleed for 5 years, they'll win 86 games. So I love that extra 6 games where I literally feel the ceiling is like 87 wins if everything goes right for them.
They have a very frustrating offense beyond Bobby Witt and Pasquantino in the middle. So it's if you were bullish on the Royals, to have to sit through that offense on a nightly basis is going to be a tough thing.
And Burke brought up the point. I love this, that Witt is not as good on the road. So they're extremely vulnerable to a long road losing streak.
And I don't know if Lugo is going to be as good. I think to me, I'd be more willing to bet that he won't be anywhere near what he was last year in his near Cy Young season. He finished second, obviously, to Tarek Skubal. Circa deserves its props for putting those up. No pun intended. They deserve their accolades for putting those up. And if it weren't for Circa, how would you describe the current state of affairs here in the lovely state of Nevada?
Well, the good news is that Nevada has 80% of the bookmakers in the Sports Betting Hall of Fame. But the bad news is that it is a wasteland, despite all those Hall of Fame bookmakers. I got to tell you, without Circa, Colorado, Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania would all be much more, not just more attractive, much more attractive in order to play. And in fact, there's a lot of sports bettors that used to live in Nevada, and then they moved to Colorado.
Yes.
And because you had more access to books. And frankly, if you're trying to bet on apps, now these books, they'll talk a big game. Oh, we'll take bets from everyone. Yeah, if you're physically in their property, you take your helicopter over and hang out at their one property. I assure you, if you're betting on the app and you're not betting on Circa, I mean, you're getting $100 limits on college basketball totals at that.
I don't want to go through it again, but MGM and William Hill, they used to actually take bets, right? But now it's all, and I love those guys over at the Aria. They're my buddies because I'm there all the time. But even there, if you gave them truth serum, they're like, the apps kind of didn't, instead of making it a better landscape, it ruined things in that. I'll give the NBA draft story again, where for those who missed it, where I was trying to bet somebody to go number one, a bet likely to lose, and by the way, did lose. And I had a day where it took hours, right, where first of all, MGM wants to put it on the app. Okay, fine, I'll do it on the app. But then when you do it on the app, they limit you. The algorithm limited you to like $30. I'm like, well, if you were going to do that, I wouldn't have given you my money. Give me my money back. Okay, here's your money back, which, by the way, I'm not sure if they're supposed to do that or if they just did it for me. Then I go to Caesars. MGM was glorious compared to Caesars. Caesars then spins the number on me after I make the, so it's, if you can't rely on those two pillars, right, in that way, if you have those experiences and you're just down to Circa, yes.
And Westgate and South Point are paper tigers. It's true, you go to the window, they'll take a big bet, but not on the app. And believe me, as soon as you show that you're a competent sports bettor, you're talking about $100. So how the world has changed. I've got a copy, Blackjack Forum from 2000, and they're talking about you should be sports betting. It's 25 years ago. They're like, no camouflage necessary. No heat. No barring. This, my friends, is outdated.
He's got props and he's throwing them behind his shoulder. All right, let's talk about something else. This is another, it's as old a topic as sports betting is, but something rankled you yesterday, which is our buddy Spanky was talking about. And by the way, Spanky is right about the premise, but you just wanted to sort of be a little more nuanced about it.
By the way, and I love Spanky. Everyone loves Spanky. He's made a lot of money betting. So here's a guy who has been extremely successful in his own sports betting and has branched out and hosts Bet Bash. Tremendous job across the board. So he came out, I was surprised, on his podcast. He basically was cursing out everyone who is selling picks in the industry. And his point was, don't give any of them a penny. all right, cursing them out. And
people who sell picks.
Yes. And I'll use an analogy. It would be like saying, don't play blackjack. You know, look at the universe, like almost everyone loses. But everyone doesn't lose. And anyone who actually studies blackjack and works on their game does win. They have the advantage, all right? So the same thing really is true. Buyer beware. It's like finding a financial advisor, all right? The vast majority of financial advisors aren't going to help someone who is doing their own research because they can't give enough extra acumen to your investments to pay for their time. Okay, it's just too expensive. So you got to find the right way to find the experts. And I cited people like Brad Powers, Mark Lawrence, like with their newsletters and how powerful those can be. It's like, who wouldn't pay $10 to get a Brad Powers newsletter or a Mark Lawrence newsletter, or to go ahead and get an annual service?
Dr. Bob's analysis,
Stoll, like Dr. Bob's like self-documented, and he's been a winning handicapper for 30 years. And no one questions, he's staying up all night and he's working so hard and the like, you did this and you're in this industry.
Yep.
So for Spanky to come out and say, and curse people out, saying, don't give anyone a nickel. And my understanding, here's a guy that made, maybe millions following people that do exactly this and paying for that information. It just seemed inconsistent. But you're right. In general, he's right. In general, if you think you're going to make money finding some sharp former NFL cheerleader that is selling picks and buy her picks and invest in them, well, you're a little naive, I think.
Yeah. No, I do. I understand what you're saying, though. This is as old a topic as it is. We've gone years without even talking about this because I find it like a hackneyed topic. But generally, once in a while, it's worth bringing up because there's always new listeners, and certainly at Sirius XM 158, we have new listeners who perhaps haven't heard this discussion before, which is, yes, generally, it's as old a scourge on the business as there has ever been, right? It gave, maybe more than anything, or maybe as much as anything, gambling a bad name because it was always, the guys screaming loudest, right, on TV.
That's your children's
right,
children.
60-1, or you have the Vegas Daves of the world who literally, like, again, I'll go back to the Action Showtime docuseries, right, which I had a part in sort of consulting on. And I remember beforehand, I was like, I don't know, you guys, you shouldn't even give him the platform. And they were like, no, don't worry. It's so clear what a scammer he is. It's so exposed on this.
He drives a Lambo, though. He must be doing great.
And that was the reaction, right? That was the reaction. People were just as likely. Yes, there was a group that was like, oh, my God, yes, total scam. But there was a group just as likely. The reaction was, yeah, but he's got that villa in Cabo and he's got that car. So looks good to me. Right, so
Sean Perry now, right?
Yeah, which I haven't been following.
Which my understanding is he's a tremendous poker player. And if you need some gambling advice, he probably could give you good poker advice. I don't know the man.
So I guess what I'm saying is it's as old as the industry itself. But yes, people should take a moment to say there are a couple exceptions. And I get it, if there are a couple exceptions, like a Dr. Bob, for instance. Like
Todd Wishnev. Why not get Todd
Wishnev
information? He's giving out his information, what he's playing live. You know what? That's valuable information. And you know what? You can get it by giving him a donation.
He's not even requiring a payment. That's right. But it's a funny thing because you can make a claim that it also cannibalizes itself, right? Like if you're good, you sort of like, let's take Carl Sack, right? NBA guru who's on. There is no better. And when it comes to his NBA totals, it is like clockwork how good they are, right? So I would argue him, oh my God, you will make your money back tenfold. So, at some point, do they figure out your edge?
Exactly. So here's where the asterisk has to come in. I've gotten into it with Right Angle Sports because on their site, they've said, be a favorite to win. I'm like, well, no, wait a minute. You're not necessarily a favorite. If you just smoke dope all day, and then 5 minutes before the games go, let me see what Right Angle's. Oh, they're on the Kent Akron over, which I'm on tonight at 155. Well, now it's 157. All right. So if you think you're just going to play Right Angle's plays at post after the line moves pay for his service and be a favorite to win,
that's the problem.
That is exactly the problem. So, but having no one would debate, hey, it's valuable to know who Right Angle has, and if I could get it for $1, and get it when it's being released. It's just a question: am I betting enough to justify the cost?
Yeah, I think as long as we can have a nuanced discussion about it, where his premise is absolutely 100% right, but just know that there are certain valuable people and certain valuable ways to view all
There are
this stuff.
exceptions to the rule, and just having the general information of knowing who's on what is valuable.
More with Fezzik on the other side.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident.